Speaking of Trump, he signed an executive order last week talking about the whole debanking thing, where banks refuse to do business with you based on your politics. I actually thought this was really interesting, especially talking about enforcement of rules. According to the New York Post, this is an opinion piece coming out of there, but they highlighted a bunch of different things, saying under pressure from the Biden administration, enforcement of reputational risk took a decidedly political term, according to a bunch of the bank's officials. Man, now reputational risk is, hey, somebody is doing business here and this person is not liked by the society and it could hurt the reputation of the bank, therefore the bank's customers, therefore the American people, so you can't bank with this person. William, this seems to be politically motivated. Again, the law specifically, or the rules specifically there, are kind of fuzzy. How do you decide who's a reputational risk? How do you not decide? But they specifically were going after conservatives, more specifically President Trump himself, under pressure from the Biden administration. How much more of this do you think we're going to be able to uncover? And do you think the American people are going to care?
They need to care. If you can debank a president, you can debank a plumber, right? Due process beats administrative pressure. When regulators whisper banks cancel, it's not risk management, it's regime management. So this is something we should definitely be very concerned about. There are a lot of things coming out this week about the banks and central banking and the Federal Reserve. I think these are institutions that are dangerous, that we should be thinking about. And there's a lot of people that are starting to talk about the blockchain and gold-backed currencies making a resurgence. I think these are things that we should start to consider as these banks are continuing to increase interest rates, and Americans are going deeper and deeper into debt. It's a genuine concern, and now that this news is coming out about debanking the president, I think we definitely need to take a second look. Americans need to be concerned about this.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, whether or not they want to, they should absolutely be concerned, because if they can do it to the president, like you said, they can do it to a plumber. Priya, the banks themselves said the pressure was subtle, but definitely still real. Do you think people with big money are going to continue kind of silencing themselves? Because we saw that all throughout, really, I mean, the pandemic and forward. Prior to that too, but that was really kind of the pinnacle of when that stuff was happening, cancel culture and all. Do you think people will start censoring themselves, or do you think the fact that this is out in the open now and the president is hopefully taking action, they're going to be more free to say what they think?
I really hope with the calling of attention to this from the president and now the media is going to help encourage people to continue to speak out against it. I mean, we can't have banks controlling and censoring people by essentially holding their money captive. It is just ridiculous to be politicizing the centralized banking system. It's ridiculous. And especially, like you mentioned, if they can do it to the president, they can do it to any one of us. And none of us have the platform that the president does. So right now is the time for him to call attention to it and for all of us to follow suit.